Welcome, beautiful people, to Tea Time and Soul Talk with Ella Aria Shanta. In these challenging times, I hope you have a chance to dive deep into your consciousness and find where your limitations lie and how much faith you have in yourself and people around you. The situation helps us to assess our life and see how much willpower we have and whether we have self-discipline to follow the rules of life, as we are experiencing how we have no control over our lives. The only thing we can control is our senses, our thoughts and emotions, and that can be only done through self-discipline. So what is self-discipline? How does it help us to expand our views and better ourselves? What are the techniques in achieving that? And what does the willingness mean? What it means to have a willpower? Let's talk about it. So let's start with, what is willingness? Willingness is a state of being mentally prepared to do something, where you accept the realization of change. In other words, when you're willing to surrender to the change. If we want a change in our life, we first need to will it. We have to be ready to change, as sometimes we think we want something, but most of the times we see that we really are not ready to change. So we find many excuses why something is not working, or we start with the negative stance. This is not going to work, or I lack in this or that, which means we're not really ready for the change, as we deep down know it means we will have to focus and do the work. And most of the people want this to come easily. And willpower comes from our inner drive, our inner desire to actively change. So the power of the will pushes us to be active and transform or manifest whatever our aim is. If we have a goal, an aim, and we want to achieve that goal, we firstly have to have a vision or idea of what we want. In order to realize that goal, we need to have the will in order to activate the action. Without no will, there is no action, because we have to be very creative. We can have great ideas and dreams, visions. We can have everything mapped up in our heads, and yet we need the will and also the knowledge in order to actively pursue this goal. So we need to have the willpower and the willingness to do something, to mark our steps and activate those steps for it to have the results. Willpower is a driving force. It's an energy that comes from within our mind, an ability to control our actions. For example, imagine you are in a car, and it's a beautiful car, visually and otherwise, and we can imagine ourselves driving that car, and we can see the road in front of us. It's everything we've imagined to be. But if we do not turn on the engine and start the car, step on the gas pedal and drive it, it will not go anywhere. So all we have is just an imagination and no result. We are not driving the car and in such coming to our final destination. So willingness can be compared to turning on the engine, and the willpower can be compared to stepping on the gas pedal. So willingness is the preparation for our actions, our activeness, and willpower is the will to move, an actual state of motion. How to activate our willpower? One is motivation, a reason why we want something. To be willing to do something means we are prepared. We're prepared to accept the path we have chosen and then take action. We have to activate ourselves, and for that, we need to have the drive or the willpower. Like I said, it starts with a vision and a motivation. And then we need to have the willingness to accept the path we've chosen and the willpower to activate our steps and achieve this vision. And sometimes that can be very elusive. We can have a vision, we can be motivated, but we also need the willpower, as sometimes the motivation is not strong enough to sustain us. and our willpower is stronger with self-discipline. We could say that self-discipline is the willingness to consciously focus our mind on something or someone. Willpower can be also activated through self-discipline. So second is self-discipline on how to activate your willpower. In order for an action to take place and ultimately achieve our goals, we need self-discipline. Nothing can be achieved without the willpower and self-discipline, at least for most of us. I'm not talking about people with samadhi, a state of consciousness where the creation has different rules as they come from different dimensions of being, so a higher level of manifestation, where mere thought is enough for an action to take place. Here I'm talking about people in this karma-based reality where we have different laws altogether. So self-discipline means to focus and control our body and mind, meaning controlling our senses, emotions, and thoughts. Because we, the people, have certain habits that were installed in us at a young age, and some of the habits can stay with us for a whole life. And some habits can be perceived as good and some as bad. For example, if we do not have a habit of cleaning our room, our environment from a young age, and have good work ethic, or we haven't been taught to be compassionate and sensitive, most likely we will carry this habit throughout our lifetime, or at least until we create or install a new habit. If we start teaching our children about self-discipline from a young age in a healthy way, it will stay with them. Have in mind, I'm talking about a healthy way. What does that mean? Means we have to show them through our example. If you smoke, don't be surprised if they will smoke or even go beyond that. And to be honest, in this world, we do not install a healthy self-discipline or self-reflection. Most what we do is teach criticism and discipline, not self-reflection and self-discipline, helping someone attain good habits. Most people do not know how to do that themselves, let alone teach their children. So if we want to be an example to others, we need to learn it ourselves. So those habits are in our thoughts, our senses, and emotions. So what we need is our body and mind discipline. So how to control our senses, our emotions, and thoughts? Here are a few guidelines. First, it's observation. You need to observe your habits. You observe how you function, what emotions arise with certain situations. See where your triggers are and see how your body reacts under certain circumstances. The second is implementation of the change. That change doesn't have to be a big change. It can be a small, minor change. For instance, if we do not like to exercise in the morning, we can wake up and just do a bed stretch in the beginning, helping our body to wake up. Or if you want to change our eating habits, maybe become a vegetarian, you can just implement a meat-free days for start twice or 3 times a week. It's the same with any other bad habit like smoking or drinking or eating sweets, and so on. Limit your intake. The point is to gradually implement a change, not to suppress or shock our body or mind, as it can backfire as a defense mechanism. You need to outsmart your mind and body by slow, gradual change. Of course, the lesser the habit, the lesser time you will need to change it. The stronger the habit, it will take a marathon will to do it. Give yourself some time. Put a time limitation on your change. You start with a week or 2, then build up to a month, and so on. The third part is motivation. Motivate yourself every day by telling yourself why you're doing this. Motivation or the reason we do things matter as that can help us to focus. In the fourth place is changing our routine. For example, if we want to quit smoking or drinking, we avoid certain places that trigger us. Or if you see that our habits are stronger with some people, we minimize the socializing. If we want to implement vegetarianism in our family, we learn how to cook at home together as a family. Nowadays, there are a lot of possibilities and so on, because you will be surrounded by a new type of environment. You will have a healthy support system. There is another tool that can help you. Sometimes we need some help or guidance. We can become weak and our mind can fluctuate. So doing spiritual practices, in Sanskrit it's called sadhana, helps us to maintain our mind focused and calm. These are some of them: meditations, prayers, yoga, om chanting, singing spiritual songs, chanting divine names, reading scriptures, writing as a part of your self-reflection, drawing, and many more. When the mind is not so loud and dominating, we can implement the change faster, and the change is more permanent, and thus we can control our senses better. You see, all of us have urges, impulses within us, natural attributes or qualities. In Sanskrit, they're called gunas, and there are 3 levels or types of gunas: tamas, the darkness, the chaos; rajas, the passion and activeness; sattva, harmony and light. We will talk about them more in the next episode. So those urges are activated through our habits. Therefore, your self-discipline is very important. So in conclusion, willingness is the preparation before an action takes place. We need to be willing to change. And through self-discipline, we can enhance our willpower. It's a driving force within us. And self-discipline is the willingness to consciously focus our mind on something or someone. To help you activate your willpower and self-discipline, you can follow 5 guidelines: self-observation, implement a change, creating a new habit; motivation, reminding yourself every day why you're doing this; change your environment; and spiritual practices. Have in mind that nothing happens without our willingness to change, and the stronger the will, the stronger the possibility for things to manifest. But do not forget, in the end, surrender everything to Him, because when all is said and done, He knows us best, and nothing in this world of limitation lasts forever. Till next time, stay in peace and love. This is Tea Time and Soul Talk with Ella Aria Shanta.